What's new in everyone's world? Other than being sick?
I've been falling asleep watching these videos about space, and I always have like these really cool space dreams. And
That's pretty sweet.
It's like I'm having guided dreams because I've gotten into all of these YouTube videos about black holes and quasars and dark matter and quantum mechanics and now every night when I go to sleep I click one of those YouTube videos and it just feeds into the next one. You know how YouTube is.
Yeah.
And so I'll just wake up at 4 a.m. covered in sweat, like the ship crashed, like having a fucking meltdown. I woke up the other night and I was fucking terrified because I was having a dream that I was slipping into the event horizon of a goddamn black hole. Like we're trying to get the systems back online and we're just tumbling into a black hole, into oblivion. And I wake up and I'm like, the fuck was that? And I look at the TV and the guy's like, that's right. Inside the black hole is limitless. And I'm just like, oh my God, what the fuck? All right, we gotta change. We gotta change to something else. This is too much. This is too heavy.
Let's just listen to some good old fashioned ASMR.
Not Taylor's.
You guys have nightmares as well?
Yeah, not my ASMR.
Taylor, do you and Woody both have nightmares too?
No, I really rarely have a nightmare. Like most of my dreams are just stupid.
No, every night.
Every night you have a nightmare?
Oh yeah.
Most of them are about prison. You know, actually, the only reason Kyle was able to survive prison is because of 60 days of semen retention. Yeah, no,
I was focusing my chi to a level that they were.
His skin was amazing. We wouldn't fuck with him.
The last one that I'll have that like freaks me out, and I've had this probably a dozen times now in the last 7-8 years, is that I'll wake up and still be like, oh my God, it's the end of the semester and you were enrolled in a math class and you didn't go to anything. And then like I'll be getting in the shower and be like, wait a minute, you're 28. You didn't take math. And
I'll have a nightmare that I'm not even at the right school. Like I'm trying to get in.
You're not even fucking close. You're at Georgia.
Like I'm there and I'm like, it's finals and it's calculus. And I'm like, I don't remember taking a day of calculus, and I don't recognize any of these fucking people in here. Where is? And I'm sitting there, and they're fucking passing scantrons out, and I just really fucking like stressed out when those happen. And I have so many of those. I have one of those.
I had reverse nightmares coming out of graduate school. When I finished graduate school and did streaming as a full-time thing, occasionally I'd wake up feeling like that, like kind of what you're experiencing, but slightly different, right? I'd wake up thinking like, fuck, I got this huge fucking paper due, and like, you know, it's this really important thing and blah blah blah, and I gotta be working on it and I'm behind, I gotta get up. And then I wake up, and then as you do that conscious thing where you kind of wake up and you're like, nope, I quit, I'm done. I had to get up and play some fucking Civ 5 this morning.
I've had the school one a bunch of times and it always follows the same pattern. There's like some sort of schedule fuck up on my part, right? Like maybe the schedule had 2 pages, maybe I just didn't read it properly, but 5 weeks in I've realized there's a class I've been skipping for 5 weeks now. Yep. And now it's fucking go time. I am going to attempt to catch up to a collegiate course that I've missed for 5 weeks. I'm gonna catch the class and somehow make a go out of this. And I need to fool the teacher into thinking I know more than I know, and that's the nightmare. That's the one that I get.
You wake up screaming a lot?
No. And another thing, if it's a different nightmare, like, you know, the random ones or the ones that are YouTube induced like Kyle has, I wake up and it's incredibly interesting to me. I remember everything about it and I can't wait to tell somebody. Within an hour, it's like, I lost it entirely. All of it's gone.
But telling people dreams is literally the worst experience for that person to be the recipient of.
Oh, she's very lucky. Yeah.
What is Dennis saying? It's Always Sunny, where he's like, a dream is like a photo album. Unless I'm in it or someone's having sex, I don't care.
That's pretty close. It's just because it's like, I did these crazy things and I was a crazy different person. There are crazy people in it. And you're like, but none of it's real. And as the recipient of that, you're like, I don't care.
I did that class thing in real life. My senior year of college, I had a high level finance class that I was in, and it wasn't even that high level. It was pretty fucking easy. Like I went in, saw the syllabus on the first day, was like, all right, hunky dory. This shouldn't be that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Go in, and in my head, because, syllabus week, stuff gets mixed up. You're like, this class counts for attendance, this class doesn't. And I had it in my head, like, finance does not take attendance ever. And I was like, yes, all right. Well, I'm going to go to every class up till that first test, 3 weeks in. And then if I do well on that, fuck it, I'm out the rest of this semester. And so, like, 3 weeks in or whatever, first test, I'd been in all those classes, aced it really easy. It was super, super easy. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, awesome. Not that I'm that smart, like everybody did very well. And I was like, fuck this, I'm out. And literally did not go back to that class other than test days. Was killing it on tests. And it gets to be literally the final, like the fucking final for the class. And I sit next to a guy, and I was like, making a little small talk, like, how you doing? He's like, oh, this class is so easy. It's going to be an easy A. And I'm like, yeah, it's been so easy. You're right, dude. Not even having to come. Like, it's perfect. And he's like, well, yeah, but like, you don't want to miss out on all the attendance points. And I was like, no, wait, what? He's like, yeah, attendance. Attendance is 10% of your grade. And I was like, no. I looked at it, and yeah, I went from getting like a 94 or something in that class to an 84 or an 85 because I did show up. Or no, you're right.
The first couple weeks, you should have some.
Yeah, but I don't know how he would have known. He didn't take attendance, but I still passed. But yeah, I was in like a major, like, heart sinking, heart palpitating panic when that kid was like, well, you still want the attendance though. So like that. Not a great climax to that story, but that was real, and it was panic.
I climaxed. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I ruined my 60 days.
Now do you feel weak and like a bitch?
Yeah, I do. Fuck, I
shouldn't have come after
coming. Yeah.
Shouldn't have come here.
Yeah, if you could get me that after I leave, I think that's all I want as a guest. I just want your AMSR, if you could.
Yeah. It's extra if you want my slurs version. And it's just racial and sexual slurs whispered sensually to you as you sleep. So, yeah, that would probably be the biggest, like, or most stressed out I ever got in a class. Like, I sucked ass at Italian, but that was like, I knew I sucked ass at it.
I hated that. I hated French. I took French in college, and I hated that I had to go. I hated that I had to go back and do it because when my initial college that I took told me I tested out of it, and then when I transferred colleges, they made me take it again. But that was the class I had to put the most work into in fucking college because it's all brute memorization. Doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't make a single difference. You just have to fucking memorize that shit. I hated that.
I sat next to this kid in Italian, and I admire him to this day with the ballsiness that he would cheat. And this is not a lecture hall. There's 18 of us in Italian too at the time, and I'm sitting at a desk next to him, and like this motherfucker, we'd sit down and start taking it. He would like unzip his coat like he was trying to intimidate someone, and he would pull out a note card. 4x7, not even 3x6, 3x5, 4x6, not 3x5. And this guy had all the conjugations on there. And every time I'd be like, dude, this is the day that Joe gets fucked. This is the test that Joe gets fucked. Never got fucked. That kid, I should have been more like Joe.
Yeah,
should have just cheated my ass off. Because looking back, there's no way that teacher gave a fuck.
Nope.
Right, because
I took sign language. She didn't give a fuck. She didn't care. It was fun time. Like she was like a hippie, like 48 years old, single lady. She didn't give a shit. We were as close as we were that lady's friends. That's what was going on in that class. It was one of those. I don't know if you guys experienced this, but we had classrooms that were fucking double wide trailers because like there wasn't enough room in the school. So they'd have a fucking double wide trailer outside, and you'd go fucking take sign language in a double wide or life connections. That was another class we had that I can't even explain what it was.
Life connections.
Yeah, life connections. I don't know what the fuck
just teaching you to use LinkedIn.
No, it was just like we just like hung out and talked about nonsense. It was so stupid. I loved it. It was my favorite class, but there was nothing going on in there.
That's
Although
I
gotta say, I think there are a bunch of subjects that should have been covered in fucking schools that never were.
Dude, let me jump in on my teacher
Paying
not
your
give a
taxes,
fuck.
exactly.
So
I actually had a course where paying your taxes was part of it. I thought it was a fucking stupid waste of my time. I don't remember ever getting anything used from that. But I do wish I'd had some fucking guidance on terms of what to do as a career. That would have been useful.
You're like, I'm a 35-year-old man, never had to pay taxes once. That was class.
My senior year in high school, we had a teacher, and he was really old, but I was young, so I didn't recognize just how like breaking down this guy was. And he was kind of flexible, but I think he just sort of lacked the energy to give a fuck. So I had him after lunch. We'd roll in late. I'd have like ice cream on a wooden stick, whatever, the popsicle or something, but ice cream. Mm-hmm. And, we really took advantage of his like inability to like have the energy to enforce rules like a normal teacher would. Then he died. Like he was that old. Yeah, he died midway through the school year. And the like vice principal or something sat in and started teaching the course while they could find a long-term substitute. And he's like, I cannot believe you people. This is how you treated him? You were walking all over him, showing up to class 7 minutes late. You had food. You brought snacks. You didn't pay attention. This is who you were to this man? And it's like, yeah, kind of like that better than this. But that's how it went down.
Yeah, I never had any teachers die while I was still there.
We did.
No.
I did have one teacher that like lost his driving privileges because he was going so blind. It's the same guy that I've talked about on the show, where people would play catch with a brand new yellow tennis ball because he couldn't see the color yellow. And this one people on this project I did wrote "You are gay" and highlighter underneath all the info on the poster board, and that I didn't do that. I didn't know. But yeah, that was no good.
Yeah, that's funny.
I had this weird dream where I was in part of like some sort of a cult, and like that tall guy from Babe, the movie with the talking pig.
Oh yeah.
Cromwell, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Walter Cromwell, maybe. Anyway, he's like
James Cromwell.
James Cromwell. Thanks. Yeah. He's like in bed, and I'm standing at the foot of the bed, and he's like the cult leader, and I've done something that the cult doesn't like. I don't even know what it is, but they're judging me. I'm being judged, and he gets out of bed, and he's like starts painting my head with like chicken blood or something like that, and I'm like, I think shit's about to go poorly, and I'm like, God told me in a vision that I had been judged and that we were cool now. I'm hoping that he'll be like, really? You saw the Lord in a vision? But no, he's not buying it at all because he's a cult leader. He doesn't believe in God. He believes in fucking underage girls. That's what cult leaders do. And he starts dragging me toward this wall where there's like manticles, like those metal cuffs with chains. Like they're about to chain me up and like kill me. And I see there's a shotgun in the corner. It's like an old timey double barrel with the hammers that pull back. And so I get that, and I'm just trying to threaten him. But some crazy lady is coming at me with a sickle. So I blast her. Just give her one of the barrels. And then that made James Cromwell, I mean, he was already 6'6", but he must have grown to like 7'6" between me blasting the lady with the sickle and looking back toward him. And now he's like really coming at me. So I blast him too. And I run for the door. And this has upset a whole mess of cult members.
You're out of barrels.
I'm also out of barrels.
I think it's funny that your dreams are realistic with ammunition.
Either the gun doesn't work at all, or it works exactly like it's supposed to. It's one or the other. There are no magical guns. There's no magical guns. So I run toward the door, and there's like an umbrella stand full of guns, and I'm like, well, thank you very much. I get one of those magic guns that doesn't work very well, though. And every time I cock the lever, sausages are coming out the top. Like little red wieners are popping out. And I'm like, well, maybe I'll shoot a wiener at them. And I close it, and it just gets all mushed up in the mechanism because it's a fucking wiener, not a bullet. And I've really overplayed my wiener gun card. Like when I saw like 3 or 4 cult members coming, I was like, I'm here, boys. Quick, oh shit! And then
it's full of little smokies.
There's little smokies everywhere. There's juice, and they both have real guns. They both immediately go to their trucks, and one of them comes out with like a submachine gun. And at this point, I'm resigned to my fate in the dream. And my thought process is, if I antagonize them enough, they'll kill me quickly. Because it seemed like torture was the punishment of the day just a few minutes ago with those manticles and such and the chicken.
Well, you
blood.
just killed James Cromwell.
Yes,
leader.
just took him out. And so I was like, well, do it then. I'm not afraid. And one of them like lights me up with a submachine gun, but I'm still alive, and it hurts. It hurts in the dream. It hurt real bad. Like it felt like getting shot in the back with a paintball gun or something. And I was like, you better reload. And I look, and the other guy, like this fat fucker, has like a gigantic light machine gun. And he starts shooting the lower half of my body only, and like to torture me. So I drop down and try to put my head into the spray of bullets, and I'm just getting massacred. But I'm just laying there and not dying. Like I know I should be dead, but it's a dream. So I'm just laying there like, I'll just pretend like I'm dead and they'll leave me alone. And then I woke up, and I was terrified, and I was breathing real hard. And that was like 40 minutes before we kicked off the show.
Dude, you've got first of all, I feel like you have a lot of nightmares.
My wife got me a present, right? She's like, "Hey, I got you a present." I'm like, "God, what is it?" I pick up the box. It's heavy. Like, as a grown man, I'm like, "Oh, fuck, it's got some heft to it." She got me a weighted blanket. Apparently, weighted blankets are sized for the weight of the person, right? So I'm a full-sized American male, right? And so this weighted blanket is like, I don't even know, 30, 35 pounds. Like it's not nothing. And I tried it last night for the first time.
Did she ask you to use it in the pool only?
At first, I was like, this is cool. This is cool. I don't know why. Our heat's not on very high. It's set to 62 at night. Is that a sleeping temp? Is that what I chose last year? Okay.
That's good.
I like it. I don't turn mine on. It's 50 degrees in here right now.
So it's a little chilly, and I put on this heated blanket, and I'm loving it. I'm like, my life has been upgraded. This is the coolest thing. And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, I get to keep this. I get to sleep with the 35-pound blanket every night. I woke up with nightmares about being trapped in very small spaces. I had in my head that I was visiting someone's house, and to get from room to room, there was a tunnel that I could barely squeeze into with my shoulders and my chest. That it was like this claustrophobia nightmare. I don't know if I'll adjust to it or just not, but we'll see.
Yeah,
but I think you should. Either way, you should vlog about it.
It's way too hot. After a little bit, it gets really hot. At least the one I have.
You have a weighted, heated blanket? I don't think I'd want it heated.
It's just weighted.
Just weighted, okay.
I don't think I would like any of that because, like, I don't like the idea of that big heavy thing on me. I want to be able to leap out of bed in a hurry if I need to.
Oh, this is the opposite of that. If I needed to catch you, I might use this blanket.
That's why she bought it for you. This was a hunting gift, she thought. You're supposed to be throwing this thing like that and a net out the back.
In my couch, and it was only for a couple times. And I remember like sitting there, and it was annoying because I have to put the leg down, my foot rests on my couch, and take the blanket off, and I get resituated if I get up to pee, and it's like annoying as shit. I think mine weighs about the same, like 30, 35 pounds, and I'm like sitting there watching whatever, and I'm like, I guess I don't have to pee yet.
Are you sure it's supposed to be that heavy? Because like
it's based on the person. Like a kid would have a lighter one, a girl would have. Oh, I don't know. That's what they say.
Yeah, but could possibly you maybe have gone too far? Like, is this a machismo thing? You're like, I got the heaviest weighted blanket it was. It's made of lead, 100 pounds.
It was a surprise gift to me.
My training cape.
My dumbass didn't even ask why.
Maybe like a lighter one would have been nicer. I'm imagining a 35-pound blanket on me, and it's making me a little bit claustrophobic.
Yeah, right.
It's too heavy of a blanket. And if you want to fold down the blanket, like because you don't want to sit there with it up to here all day, you want to have it like folded over your legs. Then now you've got a lot more pressure on there, and it's gone from a weighted blanket to actively uncomfortable and hot.
But so far,
my grandma would
seem to be it weighs too much.
Yes,
my grandma would. I think it's crochet. These really big blankets, it's yarn, and you might think, well, yarn doesn't weigh much. Crochet a king size blanket out of yarn, and it It didn't weigh 35.
This
It
weighs
weighed
25. I had it wrong. It's mine probably weighs
I think-
25. It's a good
Like
amount.
like when this blanket was folded, not only was it massive, but it was heavy, like 15, 20 pounds, no exaggeration. And I just remember thinking, like, this is too much. Like my legs feel trapped under this. Like I can't get away. Like I like to kick the covers around sometimes. Like if I get too hot, I like to be able to like kick my leg out and like maybe be half covered. And
You know when you get an X-ray and they give you that like chest to nut sort of lead thing?
Yeah,
it
lead vest.
kind of feels like that. That's roughly what my blanket is.
I
And
hate
when you
that.
lay it on top of yourself, like, you know how usually you have your blanket over your legs, you look down, you can see your toes, and like a tent is created. You can sticking up, and it's a long run. Like it doesn't, with a weighted blanket, it is suctioned to you because it weighs so much, and so it's like you're in like one of those food saving machines where like then you suck all the air out and it just sucks onto you. It's really not great.
Oh, it's so I have the opposite. I loved it until the nightmares, of course. But prior to the nightmares, I was just like, "This is my new life. Like this is so great."
Maybe get a couch thing for you if you
We
ever.
talked about this earlier, Woody. This was like when you had the home invasion as a kid, right? You just need therapy. You keep the blanket and you ask her to pitch in for some free therapy somewhere,
God.
and then you just take care of that.
I
You
need
keep your
therapy for
blanket.
your gift.
I wonder if I'm like stab proof under my weighted blanket. Like if can you pierce it?
Yeah, you
Well,
would
hopefully you never find out.
be. You would be. That's filthy defense. Hide in
Just
hide
tell
in-
Jackie. Be like, you know what really put my mind at
That's
my
Filthy's
mind at
defense.
peace is if you like fucking jump up on the bed when I'm sleeping and try to stab me with it, and then I'll wake up from
Everyone-
my nightmare of tiny houses and passages to a woman stabbing me with the blanket, and that will make it better.
I can't escape.
I need a bulletproof blanket. That's what I need. It would be
Those
heavy and
exist.
safe. Wait, that exists?
I guarantee. It's just such a good idea that there's no way that it doesn't.
Stressed out.
I guarantee that's a thing. They make bulletproof backpacks, bulletproof notebooks. They
Okay.
absolutely make
Notebooks?
bulletproof. Oh yeah,
They do make bulletproof blankets. Oh, Demolition Ranch did a video. Does a bulletproof blanket actually work? I'm
my
gonna
guess
watch
is
it.
it's going to stop like 45 ACP and below, and no way in hell it stops anything rifle related or pointy. It's going to.
But I mean, think about who is this? Is it like, does a pope sleep under these? Who is
No.
actually using these blankets?
Gun guys got
That's
too much
terrible
money.
nightmares.
So I think Kyle's right-ish. The blanket that maybe use a blanket is probably a pistol defense. Some of these blankets don't look like they're for sleeping. Like they're maybe for making this wall bulletproof, like a portable bulletproof area that might
Makes
be
sense.
better.
Okay.
Yeah.
I shouldn't call this blanket. It looks like just a folding wall.
My green screen is bulletproof.
I doubt it.
Nerf dart
I wouldn't bet.
proof.
Don't rely on that when some crazy guy with a hammer.
Quick, honey, behind the green screen.
Yeah, behind the green screen. They can't see us. He's a burglar. Their vision is based on movement. Still in your own house. Hiding in your kitchen, looking at the glass of water, start shaking. It's coming through.
We were talking about
Yeah,
this a while back.
I
I've
have
never
heard
been
that.
baptized, which apparently is a
Ultra
real
Orthodox.
rare thing. I'm sure Harley hasn't either. But for us Gentiles, it's I don't know anyone else who wasn't baptized. I need to ask my parents what the fuck
I'm
happened.
baptized. Man, they've dropped the ball.
Or maybe they made some sort of deal.
Didn't get baptized until I was like 19, but I still got baptized.
You still knocked it out. You're covered probably.
Yeah, but I went through that whole childhood of Southern Baptist hell and damnation and brimstone. Nope.
Don't you see
demons?
demons?
That shit sucks.
Yes, sometimes.
You see real demons. So I'm not going to use you as a case study
No.
for baptism, and it's been.
I love the
its
frown, the
effectiveness.
over the frown response you get because of the fucking giant
scary.
flat lips.
How do the demons
Wait,
make
do you
feel?
see demons? You see demons?
It's a long, very long story, but the short version is much more prevalent in childhood than in adulthood. I suffered from hallucinations, not the schizophrenic kind where you really, well, I mean, as a kid, I thought they were like real, you know?
Hmm.
as an adult, I might see things like a shadow person walk by super quick or something like that. And I know it's not real, and I know it's my mind playing tricks on me. But as a child, they were much more intense. And I saw a whole bunch of crazy ghosts and demons and things that talked to me and all sorts of crazy shit. I think it was a combination of a very unpleasant medical condition I have and a very toxic
You spoke about
home
this on the
environment.
show, right?
Yeah, I did. I told the
this is
story
ringing
and
a
stuff
bell to
like
me.
that. So I, in the past, have seen things like demons and ghosts and supernatural events, and I also have very, very bizarre dreams where a very unpleasant thing often talks to me and kind of controls the scenario.
Is that still happening now, or pretty few and far between?
It was pretty much dead for a long time. I had a brief resurgence about 3 or 4 months ago. Very unpleasant dream. It was. Are we going to do that? Are we going to go into paranormal? If we're going to do that, I'll take the clown nose off. It's kind of itchy.
Yeah, you can take the clown
I think you
nose
take
off
it
if you
off
want.
anyways.
Now I look a little bit
that's
more
so
like
much worse.
Clown.
Now
it's
you
so
look
worse
like
now.
you look like a French Quebec
Okay, I'll put it
daytime
back on.
Mime.
ballet. Anyone where I'm from knows what I'm talking about. By the way,
Yeah.
Yeah, continue.
The Quebecois people.
But it's like, imagine you've played something like Left 4 Dead, where there's like an AI, the director that directs your game. Imagine when you go to sleep and you have a dream, it's lucid, so you're you and you're awake, and you might even know that you're dreaming, but you're not in control of it. And there is perhaps another malevolent director there putting you through some sort of godforsaken scenario. And if you break out of the scenario, you're probably going to a meeting room where you have to have a very unpleasant meeting of some kind.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's not fun. I don't sleep that well.
I don't blame you.
I can't
That would suck.
fix it. If I get some of my problems fixed, it may go away on its own, which would be great. I am Tuesday going to see the only specialist in the state that will talk to me, and then I might have, embarrassingly, yet another final answer for this stupid
Peter
problem.
Venkman, right?
No, it's a
No.
infectious disease specialist. I may have a protozoan infection, which is not good. You don't want that. It's a
what does
little.
that mean?
It's like a little, kind of like a bacteria, but a little nastier, and they live in your red blood cells.
How do you get rid of those?
I'm not entirely sure, and it doesn't seem like it always goes away. So that's why
Unfortunately,
I'm
you have
going to a real doctor to get an answer.
And if that
Hope you get good news.
another option would be to dream train to grow stronger every day. So when you do encounter the shadow man in the dream, you are far more powerful than he ever expected you to be.
I got a trick
That's
for
Sell
good.
a
that.
supplement for that.
You do.
Yeah.
Makes you come.
We
more,
really
too.
do. Yeah,
I do have a
but
trick
like
for
on
that, for
Derek's
real.
site, there's a dream supplement. Makes you
Really,
strong
I
in
didn't
your
know that.
dreams.
Yeah.
The
Really
trick
dream
I
dreams.
learned is that if your heart rate gets over a certain amount, you almost always wake up. Like your body just has like a fail-safe mechanism if that happens.
Mhm.
So if something's getting really fucked, I stop in the dream and concentrate and try to just hyperventilate, get my heart rate up super high, and just imagine it. And usually I'll just poof right out after.
Oh,
like
I
a
got the
minute or
answer
two.
for you.
Damn.
So
Okay.
do you have a smartwatch?
Been tracking
You
it.
can you can set that thing to wake you up if it gets above a certain point. Because I know someone I know went to sleep after doing a bunch of cocaine and Adderall, and their Apple Watch woke them up because they thought they were dying, because they probably were. Their heart rate was like 170 in their sleep or some shit.
In their sleep.
So
Dude, that's
bizarrely
like-
about this,
that's like panic attack level of blood
Yeah.
pressure.
I'm telling you
only
guys
that.
about crazy dreams and shit like that, right? According to this, I dream only about 15 minutes a night, which is way less than what you need. And
Yeah.
a lot goes on in those 15 minutes, I'll tell you. Either that
Freddy
or it's
Krueger
just
shit.
not reading right.
Oh, there's full on time dilation in our dreams, which is interesting,
Oh, for
right?
sure.
Absolutely.
Big
how
time.
does
Big time.
that's a bizarre part about dreams that I would love to hear a doctor and a scientist talk about, like how that works. How does time dilation in dreams? Because
And a man
it
of God.
feels
Let's
like
cover
You
all the
wake up
bases.
sometimes exhausted. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even know how that shit ended. It went
Yeah.
on. I was like
I've been able
camping
to-
for weeks.
I've left a dream scenario, like it had been a long dream, maybe running from bad guys through the woods or something, and then wake up and be like, all right, I'm awake, and then be, oh shit, I got to get back in there, and went back to sleep and got back in. I've done that before.
That's
How does that
awesome
fucking
when
work?
you do
too.
that.
How does that work?
I
don't
think
know
it
how
works
that
because you want to go back. Your mind is already in the
Or is it
mindset.
because that place is real? Because our minds have made it real.
But doesn't
and
it
exists
feel
for-
very real sometimes?
I think that our dreams might be more than just our brains putting on a show for us. Like maybe maybe we're creating some kind of little pocket universe that we're going off and playing around in.
Maybe. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess that kind of is what it is. It's
Don't get your hopes up, though. You're not going
Ah,
anywhere
it's
when
the
you die.
simulation, and you come out, and you're like, "It's my dream
This has
world."
nothing to do with that. Still,
I like a huge amount of the time when I have a bad dream, like I don't remember anything about it other than like I'll wake up like more anxious than normal and just be like, I must have had some kind of weird dream.
I've had that.
Like, but I can't nail down like what was it about? It must have been kind of upsetting, but I have
bad, like a night
clue.
terror, like where you jump up yelling and stuff.
No, I've never had that. Like I've never like I don't
keep saying
really,
things, and I'm only
I don't
picturing you in the
up.
clown makeup doing it. Like,
Yeah, I don't wake up
sleeping
out of
and jumping
nightmare.
up, screaming, full clown costume.
You do
Just
know how I look
waking
like
up in
normally,
terror.
right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, of course. Not clownish. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had a nightmare. Or no, I when I was a kid, I woke myself up with nightmares occasionally. I woke up during a very brief nightmare where I was like, my mom was calling me to like run through the garage to get to her car so she could drive us to school. And I was closing the garage on my way out, and I tripped, and the garage door crushed my head, and I died. And I remember waking up from that like, oh my God, I never thought of that as a way to die. is having your head crushed at the age of 7, and then thinking like, oh my God, and my mom and my brother would still be out in the car looking at like my head all over the drive. Oh, that was a terrible dream for a 7-year-old.
boy.
My dream when I
that's a
was
good
7
one.
is I would be at school, and I'd be like, "I'm here naked. Why did I come all the way here naked? What a fuck up."
What a fuck up.
Literally, that'd be
Damn.
my dream. I'd be like, I forgot everything, even my clothes. This is crazy. Why would this happen? And it's just my dream is me standing there stressing, being like, how am I going to spin this?
I remember
I'm
like
7.
probably 4 years ago, which maybe not even that long, 2 or 3 years ago, I had like the first nightmare in many years where I hadn't done my homework. And like
Yeah.
I had like not, or no, what it was I realized I was enrolled in a class that I had never gone to, and it was near the end of the semester. And like I wake up from it or whatever, and it's like I'm like actually like worried about something, and then I have to remind like you're 32, you're not in school, like that it's fine.
So here's the school nightmare that I have. I haven't had it in a while, but maybe three to 5 years or something. But I used to have it all the time, and way into adulthood. I have been enrolled in the wrong classes, or I have taken more units than I thought I had. And I've never attended these classes, though. It's become news to me today that, yes, you do have a 3rd and 4th period class. This is not a half day. You've been working a half day for the year, and you were supposed to be learning calculus and biology. And so now, today, there is a Scantron fucking test for both of those classes. And you have to cram right now for the test today. And all of a sudden they start handing out Scantron sheets while I'm looking in this book that's this thick. And it's just so scary.
Just
because
panicky.
I do everything. I'm trying to talk to the teacher. I'm trying to like cheat, and nothing works.
Yeah, the reason I think that scares me is because literally, I think it was my junior year of college. I was in like Finance 3000 or some upper level finance course, and for the second test, there were only 3 tests. So test 2 is halfway through the fucking semester, and I sit down next to this guy, and through some conversation, I'm like, "Oh yeah, like I'm so glad the tests are fucking easy as shit," and because the tests were a joke. Like I got like a
That's
high A, and like on the first one, I come from the second one, and I'm like, "Man, this class is so great, easy as can be. I never come to it." And the guy I was talking to was like, "Yeah, but like attendance is like 15% of your grade." And I was like,
Oh
no, that can't be true. I couldn't
professor?
have made that kind of oversight. And so then I just like, I had it in my head. I was like, okay, you cannot get back 8% of this entire grade. Like you just have to go to every class from here on out. And like ended up still doing fine because it was easy as shit. But I remember like that was such a big fuck up because I had never blown off a class where they took attendance. That always seemed like so over the line to me. That's just willing laziness and indignance and ignorance. Like, and that's what I did. I was kicking myself for that. It's like, you fucking retard, you moron. You missed,
Taylor.
every single day other than test 1 and test 2.
It didn't matter then, and it doesn't matter now. You didn't even need the degree.
It didn't matter.
Nope.
You're right. It didn't matter at all.
Any of you use your degrees?
No.
None of it matters.
Got
I
a bunch
use
of
it
degrees,
every
don't need 'em.
week on this show.
Yeah, you
Not
can
really.
you can get those printed off the internet, and no one checks if they're real.
No.
I saw
And
a
once
Reddit
you
post
have
the
your
other
first
day from a
job out
guy.
of college, no one cares about your college
about?
transcript ever again. They care
I
about
saw
your
a-
first job.
I saw a Reddit post, and the guy was like, "I've been living a lie for X amount of years." He's working as some kind of professional with a fake degree. He's not a doctor or anything. That's different. But he's working a professional job where they think he went to some school somewhere and there's a diploma on his wall and everything. But that ain't real.
That would be mine too. I don't want to fight someone. Like that sounds shitty. That sounds like I don't want to be hurt, and I also don't want to hurt someone else.
I told you I had a reoccurring
see-
nightmare. I had a reoccurring nightmare where Kitty had agreed to have me fight someone and signed everything, and it was all,
I love this.
and I was only being notified like
As the
late
gladiator.
notice. It's like, hey, just so you know, you got like 32 days to prepare to battle a man in the ring, and it's like, oh, there's so many things I need to do.
You're
It's like-
stressed.
it was a nightmare that I would have. The most reoccurring nightmare I had though was when I was on probation and or parole or whatever. Probation. Like dreaming that I would accidentally do drugs. I would have nightmares where I accidentally did drugs and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna fail my drug test now. I'm going back to jail. And I would wake up and I'd be like, you didn't do drugs in your dreams, right? Fuck, I don't know. Did I? I had a dream that a guy like ran up to me and like smeared some like Vaseline like substance like on my neck right here, and I was like, "What the fuck? What the fuck did you just do? What the fuck is this shit?" He's like, "It's drugs." and he just ran away, like literally like twiddling his mustache, and I'm like, "Hey, what did he give me?" And they're like, "I don't know. It's some kind of weird Vaseline acid. You're gonna be fucked up." And I'm like, "Oh no, no!" It was just all about not wanting to go back to fucking prison.
Valid concern. Worth
Yeah.
making some
What makes you test positive for drugs? Like I know poppy seeds can do it.
That's
Is there
right.
If you eat a lot of them, that's
I think it's a lot. It's an awkward amount.
like 2
Elaine
muffins
did
a
it.
day every day, and you're gonna pop. I know.
I had
someone-
that fear. I got tested for a job once.
Never had poppy seed muffins, nor do I know why. Like that would be someone's go-to muffin. That's like
They
the
can be
bottom.
on an everything bagel. And
God, you'd have to eat so many.
Everything
I don't know.
bagels are great.
Yeah, I don't think you could get it from an everything bagel because there's, it's everything.
You'd
on
have to
it.
be a
There's
real
just little
fan.
poppy
It's
seed.
diluted by all the other things.
Yeah, all the other things.
that's how it
Well,
works.
there's not as
Being
much.
diluted by the garlic salt and the
It's not
onion
diluted. It's just
powder.
replaced by it. Like you just can't get enough toppings on there. It's not like they put the normal amount of poppy seeds on there, then the normal amount of everything else, and then that'd be like a big sandwich or something. You're talking
No,
crazy.
it's not
now.
that measured. They're taking a big handful and everything. Everything in the mix.
I thought
Well,
they pushed it against it. I don't know how these things are made. I
think they
picture
lick them,
taking it.
and then
Okay.
they twist them down into a pile of each ingredient, and then they repeat that process to each.
That makes sense. I have
Yeah.
a question for
Bagels.
Ed.
Well,
Yeah.
yes.
Ed, it seems like racetracks go out of business all the time. Yet these
Oh,
are
for sure.
cruddy things with like decaying asphalt, and they're not that sophisticated. Why can't racetracks make money? They charge a lot of money for the people who use them, and like, how do they lose money?
They're not that expensive to rent. So even like, how much do you think it costs to rent a NASCAR track?
Oh shucks, a NASCAR track for how long?
12 hours.
Whoa,
$16,000.
16,000, sure.
16.
Oh, that's closer. On an off-peak time or weekday, 10 grand. And so, when you think about racetracks were built in the middle of nowhere, and sometimes civilization came. And when civilization knocks at your door, first of all, they hate the noise. Second of all, they offer you a tremendous amount of money to buy very flat property. And so a lot of times they go out of business because the opportunity cost of the land use case is radically different. They also do get a lot of sanctions, and so it doesn't take that many people to vote against a single property owner to shut them down on Sundays, or to, you know, make sure they can't have their lights on at certain hours. They have to meet decibel limits and things like that. So there are some political issues that make it hard. But in reality, it's just not a great revenue per acre premise when you think about the risk and everything involved.
I don't live near there anymore, but I used to live recently. I lived near the racetrack here in Atlanta. And what are they building there? Was that a casino? Like they were building like a ton of shit around the Atlanta Motor Speedway out there. That's an area that's like nothing is there except for the racetrack.
Correct. Yeah. Well, Atlanta, nothing developed south of I-20, and so, you know, things are catching up to Atlanta Motorsports Park in Dawsonville and Road Atlanta and Brazelton, certainly. But those are established up at this point. The other problem is that the lifespan of roads is reasonably short. And so when they have, a lot of times they can never generate enough revenue to rebuild it when it gets destroyed. So you have a lot of racetracks that are in terrible disrepair, and they need absolute millions in rehabilitation. And that's just a bridge too far. So, you know, there's a lot of tracks where that happens. And then sometimes, you know, YouTubers will come in and buy them. I mean, that's happened many times, especially with drag strips and stuff like that they're not gigantic tracts of land. So it can come in and sort of be the saving grace. But you're right that it is it's when it's not an international motorsport level track. I mean, nobody's going to go buy Paul Ricard, but it's certainly, you know, Atlanta Motor Speedway or Road Atlanta, you know, a few bad years could go really, really badly. And they sell all the time. So Road Atlanta just sold to Michelin.
Yeah. I don't know. That place, last time I drove past, I think I don't know what they were building, but I thought it was a casino. I think someone told me that you could gamble there, which I'm always surprised when you tell me there's a place you can gamble that's just in a normal state, not Atlantic City or Vegas. There's so many like excuses and reasons that we find to allow gambling. The riverboat gambling thing is so absurd. Like
those boats don't float. I think. I don't know.
No,
they are totally attached in every way to.
Are they touching the ground? They don't float, right?
They've got to put pilings under them. I mean, imagine I have no idea, but I don't know what makes it legal.
I'm processing it now, but the water level goes up and down, right? So,
well, we've seen what's the TV show that we like?
Rivers are not tidal, but rain would have a massive impact depending on.
I was thinking of, for example, what the fuck is the giant river in the middle of the country that Taylor lives near?
The Mississippi.
Thank you. Yeah, people don't know that one. The Mississippi just dropped by like 20 feet last year. It's probably higher now.
Yeah, so it'd be real suspicious if that happens and your boat's sticking out on its poles.
Do you ever have dreams about motorcycle accidents?
No,
I do.
Yeah, it was a big thing
all the time.
Are they motorcycle accident wet dreams?
In my dreams, I'm just like so uncoordinated and like awkward on the bike, and you know it's very surreal, right? So the bike sometimes is flying, and sometimes the bike isn't even moving, and sometimes the bike is at hyper speed or something like that. But I just feel awkward. Like I don't know. I look and there's no pedals or something like that, and I'm just sort of like,
there are no pedals.
You know what I mean? Pegs. my feet are just like kicking behind the bike.
So that's a trick of your nervous system. Like, you know, when you fight people in your dream and your punches always feel weak.
Oh yeah,
because you're kind of partially at least paralyzed while you're asleep, so you don't wake yourself up and act out the dream. So when you do a thing, you're giving those signals, but your arm's not moving. So your brain knows like your arm isn't moving in reality, but that feels weird in the dream because you're still kind of expecting to feel that.
You think that's
it'll land and nothing happens.
Because I've also heard people think that it's it's a mental thing, that it's a mental thing, like because a lot of dreams are about not being prepared. For example, like, you know, I always have the nightmare where surprisingly I'm back in high school and I don't know where my classes are because I haven't enrolled properly in classes, and like final exams it's time for final exams, and I'm like, I don't. How am I here on the last day of a semester, like expected to like make everything right, like right now? Like I have that dream a lot.
And that's funny because you didn't care about school when you were there.
Well, for something like that, I did. Like
Gotta graduate.
Yeah, you wanted to graduate. And that's sort of the nightmare. Really, is that like graduation might be on the line, and it's like I need this class, and I was careful with that when I was like going through high school. Like all right. The math checks out. We're good.
I've had that same dream so many times, but in my case, it's not last day. It's like whatever.
Sometimes it's mid-semester
into it. Yeah, I realized, oh my god, all this time I was supposed to be doing this class. Now I have to catch up.
Yeah, it's so common. I have that exact mimic, Woody. Like I've been out of college as long as you, obviously, but like I always wake up and I'm like, you stupid idiot. Like why do you like worry about that? But yeah, it's always. Like I'm sitting in my dorm and it's halfway through the semester and I'm checking online and it's like, I'm in a finance course.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh, fuck. There's no coming back. And then
why has no one notified me?
And there's very little that happens after that in my dreams. Like, it's just like, I get really stressed out about that. And then it'll either like shift to a different
mine
dream
will go
end.
on and on. Like I will have these long narratives where I'm trying to solve that problem. And it'll involve like just like talking to teachers and principals and stuff and trying to cheat and like all sorts of like backhanded like efforts to like because the thing that would happen to me sometimes is like when we got our like first quarters like report card, if I was failing a class, then I would have to start doing the math, right? Like, all right, what do I need to make on this test to make the average go up to this? And that's where I did most of my calculations in algebra. it was figuring out.
Get it. So I think I'm very different than all of you. I have extremely wild, vivid, and mostly lucid dreams, but there's also usually another me in my dreams that's aware of the world outside me. So it usually sets up traps and various things for me for when I wake up, and it's very hard to deal with.
So I sometimes have lucid dreams. I don't understand what you're talking about with the second you, but so I'm very interested.
So if you can look this up, you can look up, I'll type it in the chat, Jungian shadow. Probably my more evil myself, like think Nega Scott. But for a good example is I had a dream with my wife when she was then my girlfriend. We just took a nap in her dorm. And I woke up in her dorm and things were normal. But she was some sort of evil witch and she tried to choke me and stab me. So I punched her in the face. And then she put a bag over my head and suffocated me. And then pow, I wake up again, a different place. And every time I wake up, there's a different person, usually my girlfriend, telling me, I'm going to keep you asleep forever. You're never going to wake up and you're always going to be stuck here with me forever and ever and ever and ever. You know, all sorts of spooky stuff, head spinning around, eyes turning black.
What's wrong with you,
just
man?
Over and over and over. But so here's the trick. The thing that's doing that in my dreams is aware of the situation around me. So I'm dreaming the real world. And 8 times in a row, I wake up in a nightmare scenario of the room that I went to bed in. So finally, it's like, have fun. And then, pow, I jump out of bed like a lightning bolt, scare the shit out of my girlfriend. And the first thing she says is, hey, it was just a dream. Just come back to bed. You know, she's like putting her hands on me like, come on, let's come back down. And of course, I think it's going to be another one of those loops where some sort of horrible monster tries to put me down. Awesome. Or there was an instance in my dorm room, I used to have like a big full body mirror or whatever. It would kind of face the bed. And it was the same kind of thing of mirrors over and over again. And the evil version of me saying, I'll be waiting for you when you wake up. I'm real now, by the way. Have fun. Pow, wake up, jump out of bed face to face with the mirror. And the idea is that it's trying to trick me into acting out in the real world. But thankfully, I'm smarter than whatever that is.
That sounds horrible, man.
So I'm going to recommend that you go talk to a professional about all that stuff you just shared with us just now.
Yeah, like a dream doctor who can shut that down.
No, like a real doctor with like a degree and stuff.
I've done that.
I've done
just
that.
An absolute quack.
That sounded scary as fuck. Wait,
I have an entire series on my channel about it.
I'm sorry, I'm a little high, but are you describing some sort of a dream demon that you communicate with?
I used to think it was a demon.
Now you know.
I mean, imagine this. Imagine you wake up in an office room, right? And you're strapped down to a chair and you can't move. And then an evil version of yourself looking identical comes and sits down and slaps a giant book on the table and says, you're stuck with me for the next 12 hours. I'm going to read you a list of all of your sins. Oh, and by the way, you can't breathe the whole time you're here. Pow. 12 hours of suffocating while you hear about every single bad thing you've done in your life, like stuff like that. Now, I did go to therapy for all this, and it's all done with. All I had to do was kill that thing and consume it, and I haven't seen it in a very long time. So,
how did you do that? Did it work on the first try?
It was at the end of I had a extraordinary dream spanning a couple of years, probably. I turned it into a series for my channel, and resolved personal conflicts. And then about a week later, I went and I woke up in the conference room again with evil me. And the implication was that it was time to finish this. So all I did is kill my doppelganger, so to speak, tear it to bits, eat all the flesh, and become one. And then you're normal again.
You know, that's literally like you're describing like a Freddy Krueger movie.
It's like a Twilight Zone thing. So how did you get him to pieces? Did you tear him to pieces? Did you have tools?
With his hands.
And as you're doing it, you know you're dreaming. Are you
correct? And
you're not tasting anything.
Oh, I tasted a plenty.
Oh, that's gross. what part of you was what part of you was the grossest?
What part of you was the tastiest?
It all tasted mostly like blood, like uncooked meat.
You didn't cook yourself?
No. It's all nasty stuff. But
save your dream self some worry.
Yeah, so those are my dreams all the time. It's basically, imagine you would go to sleep and wake up in a world that's created by your alternate self. Now, in that, you're free to move and do kind of whatever you want, but you don't control it. So you wake up in various sort of nightmare scenarios over and over and over again. But if you try to wake up and break free, the other you will try to put you back to sleep through more effort. Now, I did learn a trick where I could always wake up. If I can get my heart rate up high enough, it'll wake you up automatically as like a safety system in your body. So when I know that I'm dreaming and I know that I'm stuck in a dream and it wants to keep me there, all I have to do is focus for a minute and raise my heart rate high enough to where I start like sweating and it'll just like pop me right out of bed.
This sounds like a horrible way to have to sleep. I'm glad
I haven't had so much problems in the last couple of years, so
that's good.
Well,
did the lady, like when you went, or I'm assuming it's a lady doctor, maybe you said she, but like when you went there to her, I'm picturing like you walked through like a bead curtain to sit down in her or something like that. And when you explained your situation, she's like, oh, this is something we experience all the time here.
Did she have one like milky eye?
No. She was very young.
The milky eye. We all pictured the milky eye, right?
So I did this in college. She was a very young, like less than 30, relatively petite new psychiatrist working students for free. And she had no idea what to make of me, looking at stuff like dissociative identity and schizophrenia or whatever. And after about 3 sessions of explaining this, she arrived at the conclusion that I typed in the chat over there, which is Jungian shadow, based on Carl Gustav Jung's various philosophies about the anima and animus, which kind of competes with Freud's id and ego as a system.
Well, it worked. So something went right.
Well, probably.
So is this supposed to take care of it forever? Or is it something where it's like, well, when it comes back, I have the arsenal. I'll handle it real quick.
I think it's more of the second. This type of issue would come up with a conflict within yourself, typically. So that's how it comes out. But it always comes out in crazy dreams. So like I'll dream for, I said like years. I've had a dream where I was in a dream for like 100 years. I woke up the next morning. I didn't know what the fuck reality was. And you're laughing? Okay.
It's like that Rick and Morty game.
This is 10 years before I tried a single drug. I never drank, never smoked, didn't do anything. Like none of that stuff. Totally sober, at least chemically normal, right? Happened all the time. Always have crazy dreams.
Yeah, I've never had anything that horrible. When I was little, I had a recurring nightmare that I was late for school, and like, you know how you're leaving you leave the kitchen through the garage, and like you hit the thing and it starts closing the garage door, and you have to run and like jump over the little sensor and get outside. It was a very short dream. I would run, I would trip, and then my head would be crushed by the garage door closing.
So bad. Which could never happen, as we all know.
No, it would have stood. The garage door would have broken.
I can like, think of the head.
Even like, and I never really thought about this. Like in the dream, I remember like the reason I tripped is because I was like, I have to jump over the sensor, but then like the thought of the sensor disappeared when I fell down, and then like it comes down way faster. crushed my head. I haven't
Like a
had that
horror
since I
movie.
was a child. Yeah, but yours.
So
yours
did you feel it
the
though?
worst.
Like in your dreams, do you feel things? Like when you get cut or burnt or hit or something, do you like feel it?
Sometimes
no,
I do,
don't.
sometimes I don't.
I never feel
I
it.
usually
Like,
will. Sometimes I'll do that thing where I like try to pinch myself on the leg or the arm to try to determine whether I am in a dream, and I'm like, well, that hurt a little. Like, how much is it supposed to hurt? You know, like I've literally had that thought so many times where it's like, well, that hurts a little. I mean, how often do you pinch yourself in real life, though? Right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't really
Very
remember.
rarely.
What
If
it's
I
supposed
start
to feel
like if I start like slow walking, that's when I'll know I'm in the dream. You know, like if you're trying to get somewhere quickly and it's
you're
taking
in the sand.
an eon to walk, and every step feels like you're exhausted. That's when I'm like, oh, I'm dreaming.
Gun stuff is really interesting, right? If I need to like shoot some kind of a monster or something with a gun, I can't pull the trigger. Like it takes so much effort to pull the trigger. And forget about like finding enough bullets to actually load a gun. Like I'll have a pile of mismatched bullets and like 8 guns. And like by the time I do this sort of like okay, I got 1 of these and 3 of those and 2 of these and 4 of these, I have 1 bullet and 1 gun, and the bullet won't go in the gun. Like it's just a nightmare. And then I wake up.
Yeah, and your hands don't work right. Your body doesn't work right. The slow punch is something everyone's experienced. I feel like
It just doesn't happen.
where you're just getting the shit kicked out of you because you're just too slow. To
Almost
connect.
always have like the slow-mo fighting technique.